Vampires versus hijackers or vampires on a plane. Pick whatever you like, but we have vampires. Hey everyone, welcome back to Care Fiction. I'm your host Subhankar, and today we are going to talk about the vampire lore in Blood Red Sky. Irrespective of what the critics are saying, I think that this movie is awesome and it has my heart on all the aspects, except maybe the runtime, but whatever that may be, it is a serious, no-nonsense, straight-up gore fest of a movie. So I would recommend you to watch this movie, and I will tell you why as we move on to review the vampire lore. Needless to say that there are major spoilers up ahead. So let's begin with what we know. Nadia is a vampire and she is trying to keep her vampirism in check by undergoing what the movie suggests is leukemia treatment and injecting herself with these doses. The movie sheds some light on how she got afflicted with vampirism. She was beaten by another vampire at the abandoned house while she was searching for her husband, who by the way had already died and may be the reason why he didn't turn into one. Now typically, as depicted in the rest of the movie, she should have turned in a matter of minutes, and when that did happen, it would be uncontrollable at first. So it seems like something doesn't add up, right? My theory is that there is more to this form of vampirism. Some have more control. Well, I wouldn't say control, but rather a greater degree of resistance. The older vampire did keep it under the wraps, possibly due to what was in these vials. His son, on the other hand, who beat Nadia, could not control it. Or maybe he did, but he stopped taking his meds and reached a point of no return. However, we are still in the dark why some can resist it while others cannot. Does those vials hold a temporary solution? Who knows? And you know, it's good that way, because a little exposition would not have been good for the movie. Then we also have vampires with conscience who are against the proliferation of their kind. That is something we don't see too often. The wise old vampire said that it was a curse and that no one could control it. The evil within finally comes out. This begs the question, was this some sort of a vampiric strain, or has it been in existence for centuries? While the jury is still out on that, we do know that as they consume more blood, they gain vitality and inevitably undergo an irreversible transformation into a feral state, shedding their human form. This is not like what most movies do with vampires. They drink blood, can revert back to human form, and can live for hundreds of years. That is one strong point of this movie's vampiric lore. Another thing that you may have noticed is the constant reminder of a vampire's weakness: sunlight. That should have been a given for us, as we are familiar with a lot of vampire stories. But the point that Nadia jots down sunrise and sunset times is a way of making us aware of the already known fact. But why? Well, sunlight as a weakness was not part of the traditional vampire folklore. It was actually added to the lore by the 1922 German movie Nosferatu. If you don't know about this silent movie, and if you are a fan of vampire lore, you should go ahead and see this movie right now. Through the feral transformation and the sunlight part of the vampire lore, the movie probably hints at a reference to this 1922 masterpiece. And I love it for that. I have to say that the transformation was legit awesome. I agree that there is not a lot to go on to discuss the vampiric lore, but from what is shown, I love that this movie tries to take the vampire mythology to a new direction, and I am sure that you would love it too. So what are your thoughts on the movie and the vampire lore? Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon.